is fishing for $16,000, a trophy and boots. Well, he opened with a 300 game. Will he close with one? Stick around and find out. ESPN, the Total Sports Network, and the Professional Bowlers Association presents the $115,000 Austin Open from the Highland Lanes in Austin, Texas. Let's take a look at the 5 bowlers we'll be seeing this evening. We start out in the 5th spot with Jim Tilton.
The surfer trying to ride a wave to victory.
Phil Ringner gets the 4th slot.
Trying to win his first title in his home state of Texas.
A familiar face, Mark Baker's number 3.
Says that his superstition is bowling on television. He's trying to overcome that this week.
Next up is Dave Ferraro.
An Easterner trying to win his first tournament in the West.
And as we mentioned, Guppy Troop is the one they're shooting for.
The fish trying to swim upstream for his 8th title.
Texas and California, Philip Ringner from Big Spring, Texas, going against Jim Tilton from Huntington Beach, California. And Mike, at the top, we mentioned the rabbit. For those who are joining us for the first time, what is a rabbit?
Well, a rabbit is what we call a player who has to qualify in a pre-tournament in order to get into the regular tournament. So both these players do that on a regular basis. It's called the PTQ Pro Tour Qualifier. Every week we have one.
Hey, that's a bad start.
Right out.
Boy, I like him. I really like his release. And once again, we made the point, Mike, he is cashed in every singles event. I just think this guy has got a great future.
He does get out of the ball very pretty. Doesn't get to the side of the ball very much, but he lifts it hard with his fingers and he gets a lot of roll on the ball.
I watched Ringner last night. He'll hit him on the fly. You talk about throwing it hard and straight.
Yeah, he zips it down there. He's taking an extra look at that rack. In fact, he's asking for a re-rack right in the first frame. So the mechanics asked me earlier, they wanted me to go out and check the racks, and I said, they look great to me. You know, they worked on them all day, and right away, first frame, we got a re-rack.
What could be wrong on a re-rack?
Generally, what most of the pros think is that the 3-pin is off or the 5-pin is off. And maybe it just looks a little bad, and then his Ringner comes in light, leaves the 2-pin. In his practice, he was practicing a lot on lane 20 and having more trouble on 20. The ball wasn't coming up, and then when he moved over a little bit more, he was going high.
So he needs to pick up the deuce. 26 years of age, 5'11", 215. He has earned $14,000 this year. Of course, top prize today, $16,000 down in Austin. Here we go. 2-pin Sparrow.
Shooting it from the left. Has no problem with it.
Stays clean. Of course, you want to stay perfect. It's worth $25,000 if you bowl a 300 game. We haven't had one yet on television.
We really haven't even had a threat, you know, except when Jake started off with the first 5 in a row in Seattle, and so that was the closest really we've had.
Ringner played some high school baseball. Third, he pitched. A lot of bowlers love baseball, love softball.
Looks good, a little light. Gets the wall shot.
He does, the wall shot, the one at Dick Weber. Made pretty famous. All right, let's see if Jimmy Tilton, he's a real young one. He's just a pup, 20 years of age.
Is that all he is? It looks older than 20, doesn't he?
Take a look at big Phil Ringner, and he does throw it hard. Look at his reaction, Mike.
Usually when a bowler's coming in light, he'll move to his right. He smacks those hands. I wouldn't want to be between those hands when he smacks.
Both bowlers 5'11", a difference about 75 pounds, though. Very slight. Jimmy Tilton, 155. Going for 2 in a row.
That has it. That's that roll on that ball, that excellent roll. 20 years old. You know that my son is older than he is? I imagine your sons are, too.
I have 3 that, I don't even talk about it. I get depressed. I'm kidding. Jimmy Tilton has earned $13,000 this year. This is his 2nd career championship round appearance. Last week in the Tucson Open, he finished 5th. Lost the opening match to the eventual champ, David Ozio. Another re-rack.
Right away. Sometimes, you know, when you start getting a string with 2 in a row lately, it's a string for he's asking for another one. So he's used up 2 in 3 frames already. You want to get off he's ahead by 10 pins. If he can get one more, he's ahead by 20, and it puts a lot of pressure on Ringner right away. So he just wants those pins on spot. But sometimes pro bowlers get a little paranoid. They look at those racks and they can see solid 10s and perfectly decent racks.
Double going. 3rd frame, Jim Tilton.
Notice Ringner's little girl sitting over here sucking her thumb with her Cabbage Patch Dolls. She's really not that interesting.
distance. Is it there?
Sure is. Pretty shot.
Turkey. Jimmy Tilton. Just like his release. Let's see if Ringner can respond. Phil's wife's name is Penny, and the little girl that Mike was talking about is Tiffany. You know, he coaches Little League Baseball in the summer.
Yeah, he was telling me that was one reason he wasn't out regular before, because he stayed at home and did a lot of that.
Big goal. He wants to be exempt from the Rabbit Squad. Wants to get that respect. Strike going.
Trying for doubles, light, and gets the wall shot again.
Like
the 10-pin falling late there, too.
I watched him warm up. He did that over and over again. That's not an accident. He throws it so hard. He really does get some action.
Well, he lifts real hard, too, with his fingers. This ball's alive when it hits the pins. And that light hit like that, when your ball's alive, is a high percentage hit on the PBA Tour.
He was the bowler of the year in Big Spring in 1977. His biggest paycheck ever, that was $5,000 in the 1983 AC Delco Classic. Hold that in Alameda, California. Double going, fourth frame.
Trying to even it up. Right there.
Yep.
Brady blows the 5 out of there this time.
Oh, so he's still clean, but the man is still perfect. And we're talking about Jimmy Tilton. Will he make it 4 in a row? Well, stick around and find out. Will he make it 4 in a row? Oh, he's been good thus far tonight. Played a little baseball himself. Ken Shaw has been a big influence in his life.
This might be a big shot
Lives
for
in
him right
Denver.
here, because he's had the commercial break, had to sit down. He's had to wait, and Ringer's put some pressure on him. So we'll see how he responds right here.
Going for 4 in a row. Is it there, Mike?
Sure is.
And
He didn't like
stays
it.
perfect.
He didn't like the way he threw it, but he liked the result.
And there's our alternate,
Bill Peters.
You might explain. This is it for the alternate. We're going to forget about it.
On the PBA Tour, we have a tournament committee that sets up the rules and regulations governing the tour, and they voted this week that from now on, a bowler can finish no worse than what he has qualified. So there's no need to have the alternate anymore, because if the bowler can't continue, he just forfeits the match.
All right, can he make it 5 in a row? Jim Tilton. Coming in. Yep.
Oh, still alive for that 25.
And I like that. And if you're interested in how many he has had, talking about 300 games, he's had 2 in his career. Last 300 games, qualifying this week.
He's done it on these lanes.
And if you're also interested, if Jim Tilton can roll 7 more, he will earn more money tonight than he has in his career. $23,025 career earnings. Philip Ringner certainly is no slouch. He has a turkey going, 5th frame.
Ringner on his tough lane, lane 20. Trying 4. A lot of speed, light.
He almost does it.
And you can call that kind of a shot on lane 20 when the pressure gets a little bit harder or a little bit steeper. There's his wife and little child. Very attractive.
And in front, Harry Golden does such a good job. Everybody calls him Goose.
Mother Goose.
All right, one of the strong suits of this gentleman Ringner is his spare shooting. Let's see if that's true on the deuce. Yep, no problem.
Well, 2 pins shouldn't present a problem.
He is down 21 because Tilton is perfect through 5. 6 frame action for Phil Ringner. Spare going.
There we see the scoreboard. Jim Tilton 5 in a row. Ringner with 99 in the 4th, spare up in the 5th. The difference right now, 21 pins. Tilton trying to strike on his good lane. Right there again, solid 10.
The solid 10 is left. This is Philip's first championship round appearance this year. 2nd of his career back in '83, that AC Delco Classic we were talking about. He lost his opening match to Butch Soper, 279 to 225, and he finished 5th.
And Ringner left that solid 10. He looked right over at his wife, and so many of us do that, you know.
Blaming on your wives?
No, we're looking for sympathy, you know. You're supposed to give us sympathy at that point. So he makes the 10 pin easily.
He's clean, Mike, but he's in trouble because Jim Tilton has just been sensational. He has 5 in a row, 6 frame.
Well, the game is far from over. Ringner is still potential, big game. Tilton can't even be thinking about 300 yet. He has to be just thinking of trying to add to his lead.
Jimmy averaged 220 this week. His 1985 average is 208.
5 steps. Yeah, he holds that ball out there. Trying for 6 in a row. Right
Coming
there.
in. Oh, yeah. There wasn't any question about that thing. Right in that 1-3 pocket.
Well, we've been asking for good scores, and maybe this is the week.
Let's take a look at the gentleman who has 6 in a row, Mike.
See how he holds that ball out here now. 5 steps, and the ball goes right about over the first arrow. Maybe a board left of it this time.
What a release, though. I just really like this guy's release. Can he make it 7 in a row?
Here it comes.
Coming
Here
in.
It comes. Oh, solid 10. Boy, not his fault. I'll tell you what, he put it right there.
So the number 7, unlucky for Jim Tilton, as he put that thing right there, as you mentioned, Mike, but he leaves a solid 10.
That 6-pin just jumped around and over that 10-pin and never even got close to it.
What a nice little run, though, by Jim Tilton as he picks up 6 in a row. Now he has not had to shoot a spare, Mike. We haven't talked about this. Is this a little bit of a disadvantage?
Well, I'm sure he's taking a little extra time out of here. He really is.
No problem.
He has it.
Stays clean. All right. Tilton versus Rigner. Rigner is down 31. He'll get his shot. When we come back, stick with us.
Coach said
Already decided 5th place. Rigner picked up $4,000. Tilton has picked up 5. And, of course, what they're all shooting for is the $16,000 first prize. Will it be Guppy Troop? Will it be Dave Ferraro or Mark Baker? Because those are the 3 that are left. Dave Ferraro, interesting guy. Our first look at him this year. And you talk about tradition and something that means something across your shirt and everything. His family has been involved in bowling forever. Granddad could bowl. His dad was a good bowler. And now here's Dave carrying on. His brother was a good bowler.
Well,
Still is.
it runs in families, you know. Nelson Burton Jr. and his father, Nelson Burton Sr., both ABC Hall of Fame members. So.
Mark Baker had a 188 last game. And he leaves the 7.
Almost had the 10 up there with it again. He says, all right, he's only the 7.
Let me ask you a layman's question. The solid 10 versus the weak 10. Why don't you explain that?
The solid 10 is where the 6-pin just whistles around that 10. Just, as we say, very, very solid. The weak 10 is where the 6-pin lays in the channel and doesn't get up to get the 10-pin, and he makes the spare.
Yeah, he was sweating that one.
He looks back at me and smiles. He's trying to stay loose.
He really is, because, you know, it's tough. He's got to whip it. Tom Watson was that way for a while in golf. You've got to whip it on TV.
I remember when Watson was that way. He sure did whip it, too, didn't he?
Yeah. Dave Ferraro, interesting guy. What a nice start. He's an instinct player. I watched him last night. He'll go up those boards. Let's take a look at him and let you break it down, Mike.
5 very quick steps here. Watch his left arm come out there for balance. Pushes off on that 4th step there. Comes right straight to the ball. Not much of a slide, but a good follow-through. Rather stiff-legged at the end. I think he'd do better if he'd stay down a little better at the line.
It's interesting. He says he'd go straight, but he would really like to do both. In other words, he'd like to twist it if he could.
Well, we'd all like to twist, especially all the straight shooters as he doubles up there. we're all covetous of those big hook bowlers, I'll tell you.
And here is a guy who can hook it pretty good, Mark Baker. He's got that personal drive. He's been bowling since the age of 9. Bill Julian taught him, and he taught him well. Let's see if he can pick up a strike here.
Lane 20. Ooh, went a little high, and he looks at it. He thought it was going to be solid. He tripped it forward. He says, all right. But I'll tell you what, he's confused right now.
That was a fortunate break for him, because that was not a good ball. Looking at him, he's still shaking his head.
Well, he got a funny reaction on the lane. Remember, Tilton lost lane 20 entirely. There's got to be a reason that you got 2 straight shooters, number 1 and number 2. This condition must have been somewhat in their favor all week.
All right, let's see if Baker can double up in the 3rd.
Trying to even the match. Back in the pocket.
Yep.
Gets that 10-pin out of there.
Yep. Looks good with the double.
Smacks the hands together.
If the name Ferraro, for you sports fans, sounds familiar, his cousin Mike Ferraro was the coach who handled 3rd base, as we get a re-rack here, for the New York Yankees when Dick Hauser was coaching. Remember when Ferraro waved a guy around 3rd? ended up in a big controversy.
Yeah,
Make a long
Steinbrenner got
story
into it,
short.
yeah.
He moved on to manage KC. Hauser, or to manage Cleveland, I should say. Hauser, of course, in Kansas City.
Trying for 3 in a row. Solid.
Well,
He told me he had what is called hold area, that the ball would hold pocket for him. He certainly did that.
as we mentioned, bowling really is a family tradition, and Dave commented about that earlier tonight.
Well, my family's been in the bowling business for 45 to 50 years. My grandfather was a great bowler in the Hudson Valley. My father was a bowler. My brother's a PBA bowler, and I grew up in a bowling alley for the last 24 years. I've been bowling since I've been 2.
See, all we got to do to teach him on that is say bowling center instead of bowling alley. Trying for 4 in a row, and he's right there.
He's got it. Oh, David Ferraro is perfect. Can he pick up $25,000? You saw that reaction from Mark Baker. Let's come back and find out what Baker can do. He's down 20. Ferraro is hot.
Tonight on ESPN Classic. At 8, Alex Trujillo goes toe-to-toe with Emmanuel Augustus in a 2004 light welterweight bout. Then at 9, it's a 2005 heavyweight bout between Lawrence Claybay and Derek Bryant. And at 10, a 2004 super middleweight bout between Scott Pemberton and Omar Shika. Trujillo versus Augustus at 8, Claybay versus Bryant at 9, and Pemberton versus Shika at 10. It's all tonight on ESPN Classic. Visit us on the web for the complete ESPN Classic schedule.
Now for the Dexter 5-lane forecast.
Thanks, Chet. Well, approach conditions in the east are looking normal this morning, while high humidity in the Midwest and Central Plains is leading to some tacky surfaces. We've got slippery approaches in the south, and look for spotty slide plains out west. Wherever you...
Waving Guppy Troop to come over as we see the past winners of this event. Last year's champ is Pete Weber, and Marshall Holman won in '83. Skidmore won his first title here in 1982. And in 1981, Dave Sutar defeated Marshall Holman.
Mark Baker averaged 222 this week. His average this year is 212.
And when he bowled Dave Ferraro earlier in the week in the match play, Ferraro shot 290 at him. He tries for 3 in a row and has it.
Well, a turkey for Baker.
Keeps himself right in the match. He looks back and says, "What up?" He's definitely trying to stay loose, I'll tell you what. And he's doing a pretty good job of it.
Well, he's clean. His problem is Ferraro is perfect through 4. Fifth frame action.
He can even the match with one more right here. His tournament high game this week, 279. He may have to shoot that to win today. Trying for 4. He's there. Knocks that 10 out of there. You can see him loosen up. He's getting more confidence. Ferraro better keep striking. And Ferraro asked for another re-rack, his second one on lane 20.
What's interesting, Ferraro has not had a 300 game this year. He's only had 1 in his PBA career. Wouldn't it be something to
If he got
get
it for 25,000, yeah.
You know, we were talking a little bit about his family, and it's interesting. We just had the promo for horse racing. His father, Jack, is a harness driver at Saratoga. Nice little family ties.
Hits it out of the lane. It's there again.
Yes, it is.
Strikes again.
Did you see that messenger pin just in case that 10 is hanging around? Whoa. 5 in a row. The best we've had tonight. 6 in a row by Jim Tilton.
And Mark Baker's sitting right behind it, and he's watching. Watch the ball hold pocket. This is what we call the frozen rope. And that 2-pin just got the 7. It was going over. It would have got that 10-pin. Trying for 6 in a row with one more here. Up by 10, can increase it to 20. But he better keep striking.
Ferraro rolled a 290 at Baker during match play.
He's there again.
Oh, it sure is.
Boy, every one of them dead flush.
Zoned in 6 in a row. He's halfway home for 25 big ones.
Well, right now, he's just thinking about winning the game. 25,000 or the 300 game is really not entering his mind because Mark Baker is keeping right up with him.
Baker is not too shabby with the 4 in a row, going for 5, 6 frame.
And it's there. Boy, did that come back.
He didn't like it. He says, but I'm going to take it. 5 in a row for Baker. But Ferraro with 6 in a row. What's your reaction? And he's talking to everybody now. He didn't like it.
He likes it now.
Oh, boy.
Taking his first re-rack on lane 19. Even the match again with one more. Tell you what, Ferraro better keep striking. Ferraro right now has, 11 and 6. He's got 17 in a row against Baker. 290.
Baker said,
Possible 300.
that's cold-blooded. Ease up. It's friendly. Everybody's trying to survive. All right, let's see. He's up to it. And he's there. What a match they've got going. Baker has 6 in a row. Ferraro has 6 in a row. Only problem is Ferraro is bowling in the 7th now. He's still perfect.
And Ferraro has asked for his 3rd re-rec on lane 20. Ferraro, if one of the lanes is going to give him trouble, it's my humble opinion that it's going to be this lane, lane 20.
First TV appearance of the year, 2nd of his career, and his only other championship round appearance. He finished 5th in the 1980 Long Island Open. He qualified 4th, lost that opening match on the gold.
Trying for 7 in a row. He's right there. Boy, just solid.
Look at the background. Look at the shot there. His missus likes it.
She
Gloria.
sure does, I'll tell you what.
Gloria's watched Dave roll 7 in a row at Mark Baker, going for number 8.
I don't think we've ever had a match on TV 300 to 290. You know, that's the potential here.
And the pressure mounts.
Ferraro trying for number 8. Something went wrong. He did just the right thing. Back off and start over.
Won 300 game in his career. Will he get number 2 tonight?
That heart is pounding right now. I'm telling you, Irv, the man is nervous, but he's rising to the occasion. Well on the lane again. He's there.
Yes,
knocks that 10 out of there.
Oh, they're going wild here. We're in Austin, Texas, and it's not hook 'em horns right here. I mean, it's all for the guy from Kingston, New York. He's captured him. Look at this.
This one hits sort of half pocket. Watch the 6-pin. 2nd on the right. Snaps that 10 right out of there. And Baker's upset about something. I don't know what he's upset about. I don't know what has happened. I don't know whether he thinks that Ferraro got an extra re-rack or something, but he is upset. He's throwing the towel down. I have no clue to what he's mad about, but he's shaking his head. It's a bad mental frame to get up with. I'm telling you, he's still in this match.
Very much so. He has 6 in a row. 8th frame. He's down 20. Boy, he is...
He's trying to regain his composure, get his mind on what he's doing. He's got to get his mind on what he's doing. Whatever it is that's upsetting him, he's got to set it behind him right now and say, hey, I can't do anything about that. I've got to knock down 10 pins right here.
He's averaged 223 this week.
It's light. And gets it.
7 in a row for Baker. Best match we've had this year.
Absolutely. I mean, they don't get much better in this one. I'll tell you what, the folks at home,
Look at that scoreboard.
All X's except the first frame. And right now, I tell you what, the folks at home, if they don't like this, they might as well turn off the television set because it doesn't get any better.
Oh, that's right. And all the other ones are reruns. 9th frame.
He's got to have this one to even the match. Set himself up for a potential 290. And he's there. And knocks that 10 out of there.
Oh,
that's the Mark Baker we've been seeing week after week after week. Dave Ferraro comes out and he's perfect through 8 frames, and he finds himself even in the match. If he doesn't strike now, in fact, he falls behind. But the way he's
cruel
hitting,
world, Mike.
The way he's hitting lane 19, this is the big shot right now. If he can hit lane 20 one more time, he collects his thoughts and tries to get his emotions under control.
He is perfect through a 9th frame.
Oh, and he leaves the 4-7. Boy, he could have used at least 9 on that shot. Right in the pocket.
Boy, they appreciate the effort down here. Let's look at his reaction. 8 in a row.
He knows it's a little high. See him grimace there?
Oh. 4-7 is what he needs to pick up. And you would think when you roll 8 in a row at somebody that you have it knocked. Stick around, folks. We haven't decided a thing. Needs to pick up the 4-7.
Absolutely. Can't get careless on the spare. He's stuck, but made it.
Yep. All right, so he's clean. Both bowlers have only the one spare to show for their effort
He's
tonight.
potential 278. He's amazing. He's got 8 in a row in a spare, and he's down 2 pins.
You really got to give Baker credit for hanging in there. It's been
Especially-
easy to fold when he was ringing them
absolutely.
up. All right, let's see if he can get it going again. He's perfect through 8.
Needs to get this first one.
Coming in.
That got it. That got it. That makes Baker strike somewhere.
Mike, if it should come up if we tie, how do they handle it?
2-frame roll-off, 9th and 10th frame. And if they tied again, we'd go again. That's happened before. Right now, he's with a spare, he'd finish at 268. If he strikes again, it puts him in the 270s. I said that Mark Baker's high game this week was 279, and he might need to shoot that to win. It's entirely possible. Put him in the 270s. And gets it.
Does it.
Ferraro's just bowled as well as you can bowl. You can't do any better than he's been doing. One solid 4-7.
8 in a row and could not shake Mark Baker.
If he strikes on this
Amazing.
ball, he forces Baker to get the first strike in the 10th, 9 and a spare to win. He's got to have all 10 to keep the pressure on Baker.
And this is not a team game, folks. Nobody helps you.
And he's there one more
There he
time.
is.
11 out of 12 strikes, and he can lose.
278 for Dave Ferraro. 11 of 12, as Mike mentioned. And all he can do is sit back and watch.
Actually, Mark Baker, if he gets one more, could have 9 strikes and win. 9 strikes could defeat 11, but he has to have this one. No time again. He's there. Oh, pretty shot.
What an effort.
Now he needs 9 and a spare. If he gets 8 and a spare, or 9 and he would miss it, we would have a tie.
Do you know if Dave Ferraro loses this match, it'll be the highest score ever recorded in a losing situation?
I remember Dick Ricker shooting 268 and losing at the Tournament of Champions, but never a 278. He starts over again. Ball didn't feel right. He's got to get 9 pins, and we know that Mark Baker can send it to no man's land sometimes and wind up with less than 9. Do it hard. And he needs to convert this. He leaves a 10 pin. If he makes it, it'll be 279, equaling his high game of the week, and he'd win by 1 pin, 279 to 278, and Dave Ferraro's got to feel like the orphan of the tour.
This is no gimme, Mike. He's had problems.
If he misses it, we have a tie and a 2-frame roll-off. And he missed. Oh, he just got it.
And he jumped straight
Oh, I thought he had missed it.
Dave Ferraro was sensational. He goes up and he shakes Mark Baker's hand. It doesn't get any better, folks. 279 to 278, and that 10 pin looked like a miss. They're applauding. They're standing here.
Oh, they should. What an effort like that. I mean,
look at the last shot, because I really felt he missed it too,
I
Mike.
thought it snuck by. He kind of dumps the ball out here, goes left to the 4th arrow, and at this point, I thought it was going to hook by it. And it just hangs on, and it's a good thing it was a wide ball and a wide pin. Extra coat of paint on that pin.
Guppy Troop is looking on, and he says, am I going to have to bowl this guy? Well, we'll find out. He is for sure going to have to bowl him. That happens for the championship and $16,000 right after this message.
Here you go, Pete. Hey, Pat.
2 years ago, I had a heart attack.
Right words were, you want to bowl this guy? I don't want any part of him.
He didn't want any part of either one of them when they were shooting, And poor Dave Ferraro, I put the kiss of death on him by picking him, and he shoots the highest losing score in the history of the PBA,
It was amazing. 11 of 12 strikes, folks, and lose. Mark Baker just barely gets a 10 pin down. Can he convert that into $16,000 in a championship? Guppy Troop does have some killer instinct.
Oh, Guppy Troop, if he can come out striking, he gets so animated and he gets so excited, but he responds. He's able to get excited and throw the strikes, and you have to calm himself down in between so that he's calm when he's throwing the shot. He's amazing when he gets it going. He's like the little girl with the curl in the middle of her forehead. When he's good, he's very, very good, but when he's bad, he's horrid.
All right, we had a chance to talk to Guppy. He had 10 strikes last week, and I asked him, would you settle for 10 right now and mail it in?
Oh, I'd settle for 10 strikes on television anytime. I shot 233 last week, had 10 strikes. David only had 9. I'll take 233 and go home right now.
Mike, I have a question for you about the emotional part of it. Now, Guppy Troop by far was a people's choice when Harry Golden introduced the 5 bowlers. I saw the crowd really get involved with Ferraro and Baker. Do you have a feel for this? You know, Troop is colorful. He wears the colorful pants. People get behind him. Is that going to change because of what Baker did? Fans can be very fickle.
It may change just that quickly, you know, because you have to admire such a tremendous effort that Baker made to defeat a man that bowled 278 and win. When you've been struggling on television, it just gives us a picture of how good Mark Baker is and what the PBA pros have been watching every week.
I'll tell you something else interesting. I have felt since I started doing this series that it's a disadvantage to be in the catbird seat because you do sit down a long time. And yet Baker, as we get the handshake and they're ready to go, Baker had so much taken out of him emotionally. I watched him after he sat down, and he looked drained.
It depends how quickly he can recover. He did a smart thing. He went over and practiced in between. He gets some shots on the adjacent lane. I remember I threw a very emotional shot in 1979 to defeat Mark Roth, and I was emotionally drained. I went over and threw some practice shots, and I regained it. So we'll see if he can.
Guppy Troop.
Starting on the left lane, solid 10 right out of the gate. Pretty shot right out of the gate.
Let me caution the viewer. Don't turn away. Neither bowler takes very much time.
No, they're very quick players, both of them. Guppy switching to a hard plastic ball, cross lane at the 10 pin. No mistakes. And has it.
It's interesting. Last night when Troop hooked up, Troop looked like he was going to resign himself to second spot, and Baker came up and gave him a little bit of a jab and said, "You don't even look like you're trying, that you've given up." It seemed to rejuvenate him, and he came back to win the first qualifying spot over Ferraro.
And he defeated Baker in that match. Baker starting with a solid 10, so the no 300 for either bowler. Right out of the gate, both players starting with solid 10s. Baker.
6th TV show for Mark Baker this year.
And he's going to make a lot more. This young man has got a wealth of talent.
This is the one that gave him the win over
He
Ferraro.
says 6. He's made 6 in a row.
I like his personality.
He's really trying to stay loose.
And I can't tell from
And
the
doing
first
it.
reaction what the crowd really thinks, because Guppy is colorful. He's got that charisma, and he milks the crowd. He knows what he's doing.
Mark Baker getting to finish on the lane that he likes better, lane 19. He really gives this one room, and here it comes. Oh! Almost had the 7-10, and a pin came across to try to get the 10. It was a little short.
And that's exactly right, because he was worried about the 7-10, and then he thought he could get it all.
Right. Sure.
Let's look at the reaction.
He's saying, "Come on, strike." Now he's looking and thinking, "Oh, no, not a split." Oh. Trying for his 7th 10 pin in a row. And has it.
Says this is getting automatic now. He looks over to his tutor, Mike Durbin. Guppy comes up and checks the approach now on lane 20.
And we might mention, Irv, at this time that Guppy's father is ill right now, and Guppy is more or less kind of, trying to bowl this game for his father, who's not feeling very well right now. We'd like to wish his father the best and hope he gets well soon.
Absolutely. Smooth release. Yep. Oh.
Ball hitting what we call soft. I mean, it's just not hitting the pins hard. And 10 pin and a swishing 7.
Mike, it's interesting because his bowling goal is to win the Firestone Tournament of Champions. You've won it 3 times, and it's got to be a great feeling.
Well, I've always considered the Tournament of Champions to be the Super Bowl of bowling, as he sticks and almost goes over the line. Wow, you talk about the cartilage trouble pulling. Boy, he stuck so hard.
All right, let's take a look. We've got it from the side because this is crucial. He almost goes over the line,
Watch
Mike.
how quick his steps are, especially the next to last step is very short right here, and then he sticks right here. And usually he keeps on sliding, and he just stopped. Wow, he took that hop a la Harry Smith years ago and almost went over the line.
You know, he broke a leg once, slipped on the ice.
In Peoria, right.
Mark Baker said something interesting to Chuck Pisano and Harry Golden about that lane. Maybe that's what was upsetting him in the Ferraro match.
Nice shot. Ooh, no, the 2-10. Guppy in trouble right away. Just must not got the lift on that ball. I thought he'd let it go pretty. He's got to give it an effort. Got to try and convert this split to put some pressure on Baker.
He has 7 titles. Won his first in the 1978 Kessler Open in Battle Creek, Michigan. Beat Dick Weber.
He's going for it. Too much. Yeah, just by.
An Open. Guppy.
We just don't see that I mean, he isn't able to get anything going to show that flamboyant style that he has and that aggressive nature. Baker's left 2 10-pins. See if he can get that 10-pin out of there. He's there. Oh, no, it just snapped at the end, and he leaves the. Let me see what he's got here. He's got the 3, 4, 6, 7, 10.
Do you have a shot at this at all?
Yes, what you want to do is move cross lane, hit the 3-pin on the right. The ball will take out the 6 and the 10, and knock that 3-pin over into the 4-7.
Guppy Troop, meanwhile, takes his glasses off, shakes his head, and says, I have a light. Hey, look at this. He gave it a go.
Just didn't hit it thin enough, and he opens the door, had a chance to put some pressure on him. He has 42 in the third, so it's 45 to 42. And amazing, with so many strikes in the last game. We've already got 2 opens and no strikes, and they've thrown 6 frames in between the 2 of them.
All right, so you need to regroup. Baker's down 3. Guppy Troop isn't very happy, even though he leads. He did not like the ball that he threw. He slipped in the second frame, was fortunate in picking up the spare.
Baker trying to get back on track.
Oh, my goodness. That 7 will not fall.
Somebody over the audience says, you got to be kidding me. And Mark Baker says, yeah, you're right. He comes in light. We're not, they'll see it real well here. The 5-pin, 10-pin, almost to the 5-pin, hits the 7, and it rocks, and it doesn't fall.
He's been good on spares tonight.
One more time.
And he picks up the 7. So Baker is down 3. Troop will get his chance. 4th frame action coming up from Austin. At stake, $16,000. Leads by 3. Open in the 3rd, 4th frame.
Guppy trying for the first strike of the match and gets it.
Well, you heard somebody in the background 10 times. Guppy passed us a note. Tell Lee and Jenny Levinas that they can buy the crib now. He's talking about his lawyer and backer from Columbia, South Carolina. Let's look at his reaction.
This is the animated Guppy Troop we've been talking about.
And he's got it. And what he was talking about in the note he passed us as we get a look at Baker is apparently Lee and Jenny have a little child. He says, now you can buy it. I'm going to make you some money. Let's see if you can get a double here.
Up by 3, trying to make it 13. Light again. Knocks out the 5, knocks out the 2-4, and leaves only the 5-8. Relatively easy spare, but nobody's getting any strikes. Interesting, last game we had 20 strikes between the 2 bowlers. So far we've had 1.
Guppy was second after round 1 and then led the entire week after that.
Has the spare.
Both bowlers were open in the 3rd, and Baker, who's down 3, has a spare going. 5th frame. He had 8 in a row. 9 of 11.
9 in a row that last game.
9 of 11. Let me correct myself. Guppy doesn't watch while his competitor's going at it. Is that superstition? Or?
It could be a little bit of that, or just if a guy gets a lucky strike, he doesn't want to see it. He wants to concentrate on his own game. Sometimes they give an appearance for television and sneak a peek. There's the first strike for Baker.
And he picks it up. Get a kick out of Guppy. He used to referee college basketball for a guy named Don Haskins, who's won a national title down at UTEP. He would never look, and then he'd yell at the referees, and I'd always tell him, you can only yell half the time because you don't watch. He's quite a coach, quite a competitor.
Baker trying to take the lead for the double.
Both had opens in the 3rd frame.
Looking for our first double of the championship match.
Is it? Oh.
Didn't quite get the lift that he wanted. He's counting the 10 pins. I think he said that's 8. You got to remember that Baker's only title last year, he came from the 3rd position all the way through, defeated 3 opponents to win it in Miami, Florida. Cross lane at the 10 pin. One more time.
This has really been interesting tonight because Jim Tilton had 6 in a row in the first match and beat Phil Ringer. And then he lost to Mark Baker in the second match, and he had a chance. He had a chance to do something, and it just didn't work out. He had a 7-10 split, and then Baker threw a 279, and he needed every bit of it. Ferraro with a 278, and here they are, Troop and Baker. Troop leads by 3.
Troop trying for his second strike of the game.
That is it. Where's the reaction from Guppy?
Well, he's waiting until he gets a double. If he gets a double, you see the reaction. I never have been an advocate of using up a lot of emotion on that first strike. Once you get the double, yeah, but if you use up all that emotion on the first strike, you can't get your concentration together for that second one. Guppy right now is using all of his experience, trying to pace himself, get his heartbeat under control right now so that he can make the shot that he wants to make here.
You know, it was going so hot and heavy that last match, I expected to see the crowd doing the wave because it got that
There's a little bit of a letdown for this match, but it's still a tight match, 3 pins. Guppy trying for a double.
Coming in.
Nope. And he just can't get it up the hill on lane 19. He just keeps coming up light. He told me in the practice that 19 was tighter for him. And he's the only one of the players that has picked a finish on lane 20. Now he's switching balls again. He's going to use the ball that goes straighter at the 2-5, which is not an easy spare. And he's shooting it from the left. He's going to throw hard and straight right at that 2-pin.
7th frame.
Oh, has it. No problem.
Boy, what a horse race we've got going here in Austin. Baker is down by 3 to get his opportunity in the 7th frame when we return. Well, what's going through these two gentlemen's minds? Baker saying, am I going to get my 2nd title? Guppy Troop saying, am I going to get my 8th?
Right now, I think that they're not thinking that far ahead. They're trying to think one shot at a time, or to just find a way to get a double and stay clean, and maybe that'll win the match. Baker trying for his 2nd strike of the game on lane 20. He's light, doesn't get it, gets 9 though. Struggling on lane 20. He wipes his thumb on his pants like just a little perspiration is picked up or something from the heat of the lights and causing him to sweat. A little thing like that can just affect the feel of that ball.
So emotional against Ferraro. You just wonder how much it takes out of you.
Oh,
Is he
no,
going to
he
get
missed
it?
it. He did it again.
Oh.
He missed that in doubling. He missed a 2-pin. And he's just handed it to Troop on a silver platter. He's done 25 pins now.
Misses the deuce after he had an open in the 3rd.
Actually, it's not 25. He's down 15 pins.
Look at the reaction because he'd been good tonight with his spares.
And he goes, oh, no, he knew he missed it as soon as he let it go. He's got to come back with a strike. He's got to put something together. He's 8th frame. It's late. He's got to get going. And he's got the 3, 6, 7, 10. I mean, a potential another open 279. Ferraro has to be sitting feeling like an orphan. I mean, Tilton and Baker don't bowl 200, and Troop and Baker here now are struggling in the championship match, and he bowls 278 and loses.
It was interesting watching Guppy Troop's reaction. It was like he had just lost. He threw the towel up in the air. He doesn't like it that way. He wants to win it. He has a chance given to him.
Well, it's been handed to him right here, I'll tell you.
3 opens for Mark Baker, and he is down 15. All Troop needs to do
he was down 15 before that. Now
he's down 26. I beg your pardon.
Troop definitely has that killer instinct. He's looking right now to put his opponent away and put him out of his misery.
8th frame, spare going for Guppy Troop.
Right now, Guppy is going in a 185 pace as he leaves a solid 10, and the best Mark Baker can do is 179. So Guppy has every possibility of bowling under 200 and winning this match easily. Cross lane at the 10-pin. Ooh.
He almost lost his footing. He is fortunate.
Well, I'll tell you what. It's here, you take it. No, I don't want it right now.
Like, let's thank some people who make our job so much easier. Chuck Pisano, who knows as much about bowling as anybody I've ever been around, our TV coordinator. Phil Ferguson, John Campus, and the Goose, Harry Golden, our tournament director. Frank Ellenberg does such a good job in the truck. And we mentioned Art Trask, who scores for us from Fresno. Frank is going to leave us for a while. He's going to be doing some instructing.
Is Guppy Got a re-rack there in the 9th frame, and he went over and looked at the score. He knows the situation. 2 marks. If he can strike here, it would almost lock it up. It would force Baker to strike out to make him mark. And that's it. That's what he wanted. That's the best shot he's made of the match. He pulls the pant legs up, shows his orange socks. I guess they're orange. Baker.
Strike in the 9th.
Baker
takes
must
no
strike
time.
out. Must strike out. He's not going to. Leaves the 2 pin again, the same pin he left in the 7th frame right now. He goes from bowling 279 to another possible 150, and he might miss this 2 pin. He got it.
And you hate to see it wind up like this, because we could not have asked for any more than Mark Baker and Dave Ferraro gave us in that match just previous to this. A 279 to a 278.
Baker shows his strength as he flips that ball up in the air, and he knows he's out of it. Even if he strikes out, he finishes with 169. That won't be enough. Forced Troop to show up for the 10th frame, but it still wouldn't be enough as he leaves a 10 pin. He just cannot get a strike. He had 1 strike this whole match. 9 in a row as he holds out his hand to congratulate Guppy. And for the 3rd time this summer, Mark Baker has bowled 150 in a championship match, and it's going to prey on his mind after a while. As he makes the 10 pin.
He missed that 2 pin, and that really turned it totally around.
It just changed it. His whole, he was in the match only 4 pins behind when he missed that, and put him 15, and it just turned everything around. Just 157, I think, is going to be his final score. 156. Another disappointment for Mark Baker, another $8,250, and he keeps piling up the money, but not the victories.
So Guppy Troop is going to win his 8th PBA title.
He just needs to stay behind the fouling, which he did, and he's the winner. He's going to win it with a 180 game. I'm sure he never expected that after watching Ferraro and Baker shoot 279 to 278. But in match play competition, it's not how much you shoot, it's whether you win the game, and he has won the game as he sticks one more time.
It's almost like he's lost watching his reaction, and that's just the pro coming out in Guppy Troop.
Right, he just doesn't know what to do, having the thing handed to him like it has been as he strikes on the final ball, wins it with a 184 game.
184 to 156. Guppy Troop is getting a standing ovation here, and he really hasn't been very emotional. He hasn't had a lot to say as he wins it. And would you believe it, folks? He wins it with 4 strikes. I would not have believed it. For Mike Durbin, this is Irv Brown. Thanks for joining us.